Good evening, everyone. So, this is Sugheeshan here on behalf of GDSC SKCT to move on with my second session in the Flutter Forward campaign. Today, we are going to explore widgets with Flutter. So, today's agenda is what is a widget, categories of widget, stateless versus stateful widget, structure of widgets in app, implementing widgets in app. So, what is widgets? Widgets are fundamental concept in the Flutter framework and are used to create user interfaces. They are the building blocks of any Flutter app and understanding how they work is essential for any Flutter developer. In Flutter, everything is a widget from the smallest pieces of text to entire screens. Widgets are reusable, composable, and customizable, which makes them a powerful tool for creating beautiful and responsive user interface. So the basic idea behind using the widgets is that programmers programmers can easily create UI from them. Widgets describe how the UI of the application would look like on the given state configuration in Flutter. Run app function is used which takes the which makes it as a root in the widget tree. On behalf of Flutter also provides a rich collection of beautiful built-in widgets that can be used to create different types of user interfaces. So some of these widgets include buttons, text fields, images, lists, and more. So these widgets can be customized to fit the specific need of your app by changing their properties. So what they are telling is that uh, widgets can be customizable in such a way that it can be able to specify the customizable application developed flexibility. Widgets can be arranged in different ways to create complex layouts and user interfaces. You can use widgets like rows and columns to create or grids, or you can use stack and position widget to create overlapping elements. Flutter widgets are a powerful tool for creating beautiful and responsive user interfaces in Flutter. Understanding why Flutter uses widgets and what is so advantageous about it. Flutter widgets are unique because they are highly customizable and reusable, making it easy for developers to create beautiful and responsive user interfaces for their apps. So, what are their properties and advantages are like they're highly customizable, reusable, fast and efficient, and it is also platform independent. So the main aspect about is that it is easier to learn. So when many developers feel it easier to learn, then that software, that programming language, that framework, it is outstanding one, of course. So how it is highly customizable? So Flutter widgets are highly customizable, which means developers can modify their appearance, behavior to suit their needs of their app. Developers can change properties such as color, font size, layout, and more to create unique UI elements that fit the app's design. Reusability. So, how is a Flutter application, Flutter widgets that are reusable so that the application is also reusable in such a way that Flutter widgets are designed to be reusable, which means developers can use them across multiple screens and applications. Using the same widget in two or more screens is making it more simpler and more it is more efficient in developing an application. This reduces the development time and also developers to focus on building new features instead of reinventing the wheel. Fast and efficient. So Flutter widgets are fast and efficient. Already in the last session, you could have understood that the Flutter is very much optimized for application development, application building, because of its ability to hot reload, hot restart, as well as its ability to create applications without the usage of JavaScript, like that. So in this, Flutter widgets are optimized for fast rendering. So as I said in the last session, Sky is the first Flutter model that was designed in 2015. So that application was planned for making the application to be rendered into 121 frames at a single stretch. So Flutter was initially designed for rendering the applications faster and rendering more contents into a single aspect of the application. So which makes this fast rendering makes them ideal for creating apps that require smooth and responsive UIs. So after the upgradation of mobiles and its hardware properties, people requires the applications to be very much smoother. So they spend their money cost efficiently in mobiles, for not only for their hardware aspects but also for their software aspects. Flutter provides this kind of rendering so much easier, so that it is widely accepted, and such applications built using Flutter is very much used widely. So Flutter's reactive programming model ensures that UI updates are fast and efficient. So obviously UI updates are also very much important. Like it can be customizable. It should be customizable for an horizontal, vertical in an effective way. Same like that, it should be customized for various different models of the mobile applications and mobiles. So it should be faster with various updates. So the hardware aspects, when it is upgraded, the software aspects must be upgraded. For complex applications with multiple screens, it is more smoother and it is more energetic. Like how an energetic child is, it is more like energetic in that way, such that the Flutter widgets make the application so much faster. It as Flutter widgets is also platform independent. We do not require to write it for like iOS, Linux. The widgets doesn't change. Every widgets are like same in iOS, Android, Linux, embedded systems. So it is completely platform independent. When the whole hierarchical top model, Flutter itself is an platform independent. So as that, widgets is also independent. So the Flutter widgets are platform independent, which means developers can use the same code base to build apps for multiple platforms that includes iOS, Android, and the web, as well as embedded systems. We know, we saw in the last session. This reduces the development time and makes it easy to maintain a single code base for multiple apps. So maintaining single code base is very much important, like when there is a single code base, so developers find it easier to maintain it and share it among themselves. Each updates could be reflected in various different operating systems in a more effective and powerful way. So it is the main point, like it is easier to learn. At first it was easy, it was a bit tough, but implementing after learning that all the applications are Flutter applications are implemented using the widgets, it is quite simple, so that makes it quite like easier to understand the structure of the application in the code itself. So you could see the structure of the application while you're writing your code. Like you could identify the containers, you could identify the placing of individual widgets, individual buttons in the application, so that it is making it easier to learn. So it like how they are easier means that developers with variety of skills can quickly get up for this speed and building of applications. So for me it took so quite a time, only a few time to develop an application and build, learn and everything about Flutter. So it is necessary and for an language or a framework to be easier to be understandable. More complex programming requires more complex people. So when complex peoples are there, there is a problem with developers, like that. So Flutter's simple and intuitive widget hierarchy makes it easy to create UI elements. So that hierarchy, like it is so hierarchy like that it is easier to create UI elements and customize their appearance and behavior. Overall, the unique features of Flutter widgets is empowering developers to create stunning and responsive UIs like us. So that meet the needs of their users. So Flutter is completely mind blowing. So these are the widgets, row. These are some of the widgets like row, column, stack, padding, center. You could have seen it. Like the row, it is a layout of this layout is a list of child widgets arranged in horizontal fashion. So as we know, the row in our day-to-day life, we are understanding row, we are seeing row, we are arranged in a row in classes, we are arranged in a row in various community meetup. So like that, the same way. So individual widgets are arranged in a row inside a container such that they are placed parallelly together. Same as column. Column layout is a list of child widgets arranged in a vertical fashion. So before knowing row and column, it is important to know what are child and children's, like in other languages how parent class and child class are there. So these widgets are children's of a total container, total widget hierarchy. So these individual widget elements are childs which are arranged in columns in a vertical fashion. So stack so when using Instagram, developers think when a people is tagging someone in the image, we all are using them obviously. So when a people is tagging someone in an in their photo, the tag name is above the image. It can be presented above the image. So what happens there is that individual tag element is stacked above the image. So that unique property is very much important, like demonstrating image like this PPT. This presentation contains stacks of wordings, stacks of images. The same way, the same user interface, let's in an application can be done by like adding an button, like, adding a button inside an image, adding an text inside an image, like that. So padding. This widget insets its child by given padding. So padding is obviously like giving the space between the container's border and the widget's border. And center. Center is like placing the widget's location in the position such a way. So basically, first we must see row and column widgets. So row and columns are the basic components, like basic utility of an application development, like everything in an application comes as a row, as a column. The elements are arranged in a row. Like even though this Instagram has multiple list view, like it is endless. Whenever you refresh, new images pop up in an horizontal way. So that's columns usage. Whereas in the top app bar, in the top search, in the search we have the search button, filter button in a Flipkart application or Amazon application. So in that, what Amazon developers do is that they place individual widgets in an row. So that's what happens in an row and column. So basically, a row widget arranges its child widgets horizontally from left to right. The child widgets are added to the row using the children property and can be a mix of different types of widgets such as text, icon, images, or even other layout widgets can be added in a row. Okay. Uh, the row widget automatically sizes its child widget to fit within the available space based on the constraints of the parent widget. So it is like a class. The parent widget decides how a child is acting. So the area the row occupies is mentioned and planned accordingly with the help of these widgets, these available row constraint. So here is an example for a row widget. So in here, the row widget is opened. So in that there are childrens. These childrens are like, row is the parent class. So for example, I'm telling. So okay, let's say a row is a parent widget. So they contain childrens. They have children in them. So they are arranged in a way that hello from left to right. So hello is in the left. The icons not favorite. These icons are available in Flutter itself. These icons are present already, so that it is easier for developers to develop the application. So icons.favorite is in the middle, and Flutter is in the rightmost corner. So that's how this row is arranged. So next, a column widget arranges its child widgets vertically from top to bottom. The child widgets are added to the column using the children property and can be a mix of different types of widgets such as text, icon, image, or same as the row. They are the equal property. They are similar to each other, but their arrangement differs in such a way that horizontal and vertical, as the name suggests itself. So even that arranges and fits within the available space based on their parents widget. So in here the same line. So in this, what happens is like the first line prints in the first column, second line in the second column, third line in the third column. A major topic that we discussed that must be discussed is that it can be nested with other layout widgets such as container, expanded, or sized box to control their position, size within the app. So each individual containers can be arranged in a row, in a column, such a way that they like for example, let's take Pinterest. So individual containers, individual grid boxes are arranged in a row such that they are placed horizontally and as well as in a column. Like that's what is an important aspect of rows and columns. So everything is dependent on rows and columns and how we are arranging the application. So by using row and column widgets in combination and other layout widgets, developers can create complex and responsive UIs that adapt to different screen sizes and device orientations. So what is like device orientations is like the portrait mode, the landscape mode. The application must be adaptable for both horizontal as well as vertical model. So it must also adapt to the different screen sizes also. So Pixel phone may be smaller, whereas Samsung model is could be higher. Pixel mode at present Pixels are releasing uh, larger size of models. So they a company has different kinds of models in them, different UI design, different size, different orientation. So what they must do is they must be adaptable. Each developer must develop an applications in such a way that it should be adaptable for every kind of application, every kind of models. So next comes the padding. So padding is a property of widgets that defines the amount of space between the edges of a widget. So what I said, like the widgets spacing, the edges of the widgets are decided with the help of padding. Child edges of widget, and its child widget is also could be the parent widget and child widgets space could be decided with the help of padding. Their gap, their orientation, the placement in an application's UI. So padding is typically used to add white spaces or margins around a widget. Like a widget must be contained in a box. For that, padding is used to segregate the widgets, to emboss the widget, to identify the widget individually. Padding is must, or else each widgets could overlap, which could result in like not perfect UI, right? Like an UI must be arranged or in a such a way that like it should be visible and it should be easily understandable by every kind of users, and it should also be user friendly. So it also improves the visual layout and readability of an app's UI. So like padding in Flutter is a widget, a child including it can be used in a text, image, button, container widgets among others. So it is a property defined by edge insets. This keyword edge insets is a must. Pa- like how is A for apple? Like padding means edge insets. So what an edge inset is like, it decides the space between the edges of the widget. Edge insets specifies the amount of padding to apply to each side of the application, including top, bottom, left, and right. So, for example, to add 10 pixels of padding around a text widget, we can see this code like a text widget is there. So that widget contains hello world. So what happens here is a text widget is being placed inside an application's UI, and the style of the text widget is decided, like the font size is 20. Then the alignment add 10 10 pixels of padding around the text widget. So if we want to add 10 pixels around, so we must use padding double uh, colon edge insets dot all 10. So what here it does is like, so the every sides we can specify it like edge insets dot right, edge insets dot top, edge insets dot bottom. We can do whatever we want, but still the our example is that the padding must be specific to every edges in a 10 pixels. So what we are doing is that motions on our applications, coding symbol rotating. Widgets take charge of such as display images, show icons like wallpaper, apps images added into it. That those widgets, those elements are controlled by assets, images, and async functionality is provided using the async character application. Certain applications like app bar, scaffold, so these widgets are must, like they are the basic entity, they are the basic building blocks of a Flutter application. So such categories of widgets are very much important. Next is many one's interesting topic, Cupertino. Like they are p- they are the building blocks of Flutter for iOS device. Like for iOS, Cupertino is must. For this is Cupertino provides the iOS designed widgets input. This set of widgets provides input functionality in a Flutter application. Interaction models. So these widgets are here, are there to touch events and route users to different views in their application. Like what it does is like these models, like when a button is pressed, the next page must be provided, next page must be visible. That is provided by the interaction models layout. This bundle of widgets help in placing the other widgets in the screen. Like what it does is like the layouts are arranged, like these images must be placed here, these content must be placed here. Those are handled by the layout widgets. Material components, this is also one of the developers limelight. So what it does is like this is a that are mainly followed by material design. Like it provides the design, it provides that unique interface look, visual ability, visual beauty to an application's widget. And painting effects, that's obviously like painting the child widgets like with color, shape, like circle, spear, like that. Scrolling, it provides, it is a must. Scrolling provides the ability to move the other widgets, like down top, to increase the page size by moving like that. Styling, what that does is that theme, like the color of an, like in the previous example what we saw, uh, main Flutter widgets present in an application. So basically, scaffold, app bar. So this, I think scaffold only could be a difficult topic to be, like it's not difficult. It could be a new word for non-developers, but non-mobile app developers. But other things, I think it could be identifiable with the image I have been showing. So let's see. So what the scaffold is, it is a widget that provides a basic layout structure for Flutter's app screens or pages. It is essential to a container that holds other widgets that make up the various components of a user interface. The scaffold widget provides standard layout structure that includes a top app bar, a bottom navigation bar, a floating action button, and a body section where other widgets can be placed. It also handles a range of common functionalities such as managing the app bar's title, adding or removing the drawer, and handling back button presses. This is what scaffold is for. So the top app bar, typically app bar, like we could see the leading title, actions, those are app bars. So the top app bar and bottom app bar, there are two things. So the top app bar typically contains the app's name or logo and other primary actions, like in this image, search function, like that. The bottom navigation bar contains apps navigation options like moving front and back, moving in the scaffold we could see. These are these are so These are bottom app bar, whereas these are the top app bar. So buttons is also an important topic. Like we use buttons everywhere. So this, for example, this is a floating action button. You might be able to view it. So what this floating action button is a button that floats above the content and provides a quick and easy way to initiate a primary action in the app. The body section of the scaffold widget is where the main content of the screen or page is placed. So like this is the body of the scaffold. So this is where the main content of the page is being placed. So scaffold is an very much important widget that is very much important in such a way that it is used to create a wide range of app screens, from simple ones to complex ones. It provides a basic layout and handles common functionalities, which makes it a great starting point for most Flutter apps. However, it is worth noting that the scaffold widget is not suitable for every app, screen, or page to achieve the desired result. So we must be considered we must be shocked, or we must be thinking about what is text and rich text. There are two types of text, and normal text is the basic way of representing the text, like without any kind of we can set its property like font size, color, alignment, and more. The rich text, on the other hand, it's a more complex widget that allows to display text with different styles. Like in this, they have used italic, they are used bold, whereas in this, nothing like that. It is a simple, it is a simple kind of text, but this is an rich text. So safe area, and it is another important topic. Safe area, the safe area widget is the widget that provides uh, padding or insets around the edges on the screen to ensure that app's content is displayed in a safe area that is not covered by system elements such as the status bar, navigation bar, or device notches. Like see in this, with in this program, in this application, there isn't any safe area, so that this camera isn't visible properly. In this, also the same issue. This camera is the proper location, proper arrangement of the application. With the increase in diversity of screens and sizes and device shapes, developers like us, we need to ensure that the app content is not hidden or obscured by any device edges, which may vary from device to device. Safe area widget solves the problem by creating a safe area inside which the app's content is rendered. So safe area is a container. Like we could see a container. Like container consists of materials into a rigid shape. So it wraps the child widgets and ensures that the child widget is not rendered in the unsafe area of the screen. It may be particularly useful for app screens or pages that contain critical information such as navigation menus or buttons that users need to access quickly. So like that, yeah. So let's say, for example, consider an app that has a navigation bar at the bottom of the screen, like navigation bar in here. So on a device with a notch or rounded edges, like these have a notch camera notch, and these has rounded edges. So, so part of the, if this emoji is a navigation bar, let's say if this emoji is a navigation bar present here. So what happens is here, if this phone is curved, if I place this emoji here, what will happen is like it would look like this. Okay, so this could lead to improper usage of this application. So while using the safe area widget, there isn't any need for issue or problem like that. So another important topic in Flutter is stateless and stateful widgets. They are like, they are the god. They are how the widgets are placed inside in Flutter. So there are two types basically. So stateless widgets are those that don't change their state over time, while stateful widgets are those that can change a state. Stateless widget is a widget that describes part of the user interface by building a constellation of other widgets that describe the user interface more concretely. So let's say we know what is concrete. What is a concrete? Cement. So what like what it is that it doesn't change. It doesn't change dynamically. It is static. It is only used for visibility. It isn't there isn't any usage for the stateless widget. So stateless widgets are very efficient and straightforward. Like it is straightforward since it is static, there isn't any change in it, so it is completely straightforward. And they are immutable, meaning that once they are created, their properties cannot be changed. Good. An example is that a text widget could be an stateless widget. So it is used to only for displaying the text in the screen. This is a simple code for showcasing how one stateless widget is present. The class extends the stateless widget. So the class's properties extends the stateless widget. So next is the stateful widget. Stateful widgets are useful when the part of the user interface you are describing can change dynamically. Example, due to heavy having an internal clock driven state or depending on some system state. So let's say stateful widgets, like compared to, on the other hand, compared to stateless widget, are complex, completely complex compared to stateless, and require more work to use. They are mutable, like opposite of immutable, like meaning they can change their properties over time, and they can be updated on the screen accordingly. So a good example for a stateful widget is that a checkbox widget. So like whenever we must check it correct, so the button can be clicked and the state of the checkbox is changed. It can be checked or unchecked by user dynamically. So the basic difference between stateless and stateful widget are stateful widgets are stateless widgets are static widgets, whereas action or data change. Stateless widgets do not have a state. They will be rendered once and will not update themselves, but will only be updated when external data changes. Whereas in stateful widget is very powerful. Like stateful widgets have an internal state and can re-render if the input data changes or if widget state changes. So for an example for a stateless widget is the text icon, raised button, or stateless widgets. For example, for checkbox or radio button, checkbox, slider, those are stateful widgets. So the next thing is structure of widgets in applications. So this is an example for an application, like how the widgets are structured in an application. So in this login page is a stateful widget. Like like we know what is a logging page. Logging page can be changed dynamically. When an user's password is incorrect, it must notify them that the password is incorrect. After a certain wrong attempt, it must also showcase that it is wrong. Like the page should be modified dynamically. If they are correct, it should navigate. Like login page itself and stateful widget. The state of the login page is modifiable etc. So in this, let's see how they are arranged. So this outer, totally, this is the scaffold. So see, let's say it implements the basic material design, visual layout structure. This class provides APIs for showing drawers, snack bars, and bottom sheets. Snack bars is the notification that is present after certain attempts, like it comes here. So what the scaffold is used is for that it provides the APIs for showing drawers or snack bars or down sheets like that. So then comes the safe area. So I don't think it is visible, but this here is a charging symbol. So here is that dates and time and the tower. So what in here, it is the safe area. So this program must be running only inside the safe area, so that this the program's content is not hidden by the already present UI's elements. So a widget that avoids operating system interfaces such as status bar or the notch in more recent phones. So next comes the list view. So list view is like it is more like row, but it is in a list. A list is like rows arranged in columns. So list views, it is used for most commonly used for scrolling widget. It displays its children one after another. So this is placed first, and this is second, this is third, like that. So the list view is having a container, like it is in sized box. So this could be the list views approximately. It could be the list views size. So then here comes the column. So we know already columns is vertical arrangement. So first column contains an asset widget. So that asset contains a diamond. Then comes text shrine. So these are embedded inside each individual size box. So what they're showing is that this column is an individual container. So this is an individual container, this icon. So next, these are placed inside the scaffold, inside the list view. Like this column is in list view. This column is the first item of the list view. This is the second. This is the third, and this whole content is another list item. So next comes the sized box, which contains the text field, and another sized box which also contains the text field or password, and the first for username. So next is another container which is in button bar. Like this is also a button, this is also a button. This is a flat button, this is a raised button. So raised button gives an embossed effect, whereas a flat button is it not like a button. It is not visible like a button. It is more like a text, but it has the property of acting as a button. So in a stateless is that when a constructor is called, like we know constructor, when a constructor is the same as the class name. When the class is called, when the class object is created, the constructor is invoked, and when the constructor is invoked, the object is built. Whereas in a stateful widget, the constructor is called, the initial state is created, like what is the condition of the button, like button is not pressed yet, so that is created, and the initial state is set as that the button is not that pressed, and the initialization of state happens here. Like the state of the object, the button's initial state is created here, and the initiated, the state button is after pressed, it is initiated, then it is built. So when the button is not pressed, and another image is created, like the button is not giving any effect. When the button is pressed, the button, what happens here is it gives an immediate effect. So this is an example for an stateless widget. Like we know package. So you know what is an import. I will explain this code part. Like what happens is here, this import, what is import, it imports certain predefined packages, predefined contents that are provided by the community of Flutter. So in this package, Flutter's package containing material dot is being imported into this program. So what happens is that individual properties, like individual widgets, are being placed inside this package, and that is invoked by this certain application. So this is an hello world program. So what happens is this is in stateless widget. We know a text. We are going to place a text in center of the scaffold, so that it doesn't give any stateless changes. So these are certain functionalities. These are used for running an application. So what does here is this main function happens, the application is run. That so this function is overridden. So the widget is being built. So widgets are in customizable. We spoke earlier, like individual widgets are customizable and built. So the material app is being returned. The home scaffold is the home. App bar, this is the app bar we spoke, right? So the app bar's color is blue. So it contains the title, example title. So this is the body, this is the body, this contains the container. So it consists of a child. This is the child is placed in the center. The another child is placed inside the container child. So that is containing the hello world. So this is how a stateless widgets program is, a simple stateless widgets program is. So this is in stateful widget. Like after clicking this button, it is striken out. That's how stateful widget is been implemented. So there isn't any issues. This changes dynamically. This does dynamically. So stateless widget doesn't change dynamically, whereas stateful widget changes dynamically. So this like I already spoke. These are the same thing. Like how the widgets are being placed and what are the description. Like scaffold implements the basic material design. App bar to create the bar or top screen. Text to write anything on the text. Container to contain any widget, like that. So let's see how to in the previous session I wasn't able to complete the installation guide. Let's see how installation of the application, installation of Flutter is being taken care of. So first of all, opening our browser is must. So after opening our browser, so we could do like this, or flutter install. Like you could give flutter install, and the first page is like this. So the basic is that system requirements. So for the Flutter application to run, system requirements is also a must thing. So the computer must meet the minimum system requirements, like the Windows operating. So for Windows, I'm going to teach it. So I'm going to take this session on that. So the Windows operating system, Windows 10 or later, 64-bit processor. The disk space must be in minimum of 1.64 GB. That doesn't include the IDE or tools like IDE like Visual Studio Code, Android Studio. That doesn't include this complete package. This complete installation is only for how an Flutter application is being installed. So Flutter basically depends on these tools. So we must install these tools also. Like it is a straightforward application. Like we must download the Git for 64-bit or 32-bit based on our our systems capability. So this is Windows PowerShell 5.0. This is if you are a user who is using Windows 7, then you must install this. But for people who are using since Windows 7, there isn't any requirement for such a thing. So RAM must be 4 GB or higher. So we must download the Flutter SDK. So to download the Flutter SDK, we will be here in this flutter.dev website, https flutter.dev. So if you want to know it, I could show it in a notepad also. So we could download the version that is required for Windows. So then extracting the SDK in our C file, src file. So this is the file, like, so this is the file, extracting the source file. So next, adding Flutter to path. So that's an important aspect. Many people find it difficult. So adding the Flutter bin directory path to path environmental variable on your system is very much important. Like, it could be done in anything. Like, after opening start, we must click environmental variables. So it would be the first thing, enviro, like, when you type in start typing, it would be the first thing that could be visible. Like, after clicking on the environmental variables, you must go into the environmental variables page, like, then. So after clicking that, under the system variables, so this is the system variables, these are the user variables. So we are going to change the system variables. So you must scroll down and edit, sorry, first new. So okay, so you must edit. So you must create a new path variable name, and the source code, like, the c, like, the pathway of the Flutter, like, Java home, like this. C program files, the pathway of the Flutter should be placed in that. After that, installation of Android Studio is also must for install Android Studio. So Android Studio requires, like, 400 GB of, sorry, 400 MB of data in your system. So after typing install Android Studio, that's the first thing that is going to come. Like, that's an IDE platform. Since I have already installed everything, so I am showing you a basic setup for like, how to implement it. So after this, like, you can install Android Studio based on your design platform, like, how you want to install it. So after installing Flutter, you should place. So after installation of Android Studio, so you must create an new project and add the necessary Flutter tools and plugins you required, which will be asked, which will be asked to you. So after that, you could be able to create a new Flutter project. So opening, see, like, you should open the Flutter project, new Flutter project. It would ask, like, dot Flutter Groovy Java, like. So what is the SDK path? SDK path mustn't be changed, it should be the same. So that proper functioning of application is required. So next, so project name must be in small letters, followed by any underscore, and there shouldn't be any numbers, or, like, there shouldn't be any capital spaces. See, in this you could be able to see Android language can be chosen for both Java and Kotlin. I am choosing Kotlin. And the same is, like, iOS language. Like, if you're going to develop it for both iOS and Android, Objective C or Shift, the platforms which your application is going to be run, like, Android, iOS, Linux, Mac OS, Web, Windows. You could choose whatever you need. Like, so this organization name, you could also use that. You could also change that into whatever package you want to do it. So let's keep it as example. And you could also change the project type, like, if you wanted to create a new plugin, like, you want to provide it for the community, you can do that. So the new Flutter project has been created, it is been creating. it's loading completely. So this is how the proper proper installation of Flutter is required for running. So if you want to check how whether the application has been installed properly, so you must type Flutter doctor. So what it does is like it checks the installation of Flutter to its latest stable version, and it also checks the Android licenses that are been placed in that. So if the thing is been ticked, if everything is been checked, then your application has been properly built. So it takes quite a time. So if you want to open this not only in Android Studio, you can open it in your personal IDs. So my if you want to use it in an Visual Studio Code, you can go into Visual Studio Code and create a new window. So file or open folder. So open folder, you can choose where your placed your product project is. So this is what I created, hello world. So I'm opening hello world. So it has been opened in this also. So this is the most important also. This is most important aspect of the Flutter application. This this library, lib library, find program. So so this is loading. Okay, so it's taking unexpected. Select and device. So that's how the application is been developed. So in the next session, so like this only, first of all, like implementing, we must also know how uh, how like how the widgets are being implemented in an application. So after creating the new Flutter project, so it's taking a time, so let's go on with the session. So first we must understand the widget tree, like I told, right? Scaffold and then content, uh, so first of all we must choose the right widgets. After understanding like who we are placing the scaffold, how we are placing bar, after that we must understand we have to choose the right widgets, and we also must implement that. So in the next session, let's see about the Flutter. So in the next session, let's see about Flutter Forward as well as implementation of a program using a simple widgets.